phone, so
Right.
uh, it's mostly just for audio quality.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, hey, Kevin, Mr. McLeod, whatever. uh, it's
That's me.
it's
Yes.
cool to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we start, I just want to say, like, you've kind of shaped a lot of your internet. You shaped my childhood because, like, I'm 20. I grew up on your music on like
Yeah.
these Minecraft machinima videos that used
Absolutely.
Sneaky Snitch, all that.
Yeah. Fucking. Who is those? I don't know. I found a lot of Minecraft videos. Um, let's try to remember. Oh, Yogg's Cast. That was the one that I watched.
I grew up on
Um,
Yogscast too. I don't remember your music in them, but I mostly watched their
I don't think it was in them.
series.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know. Could have been.
it's entirely possible they did. Everyone did.
Yeah. Yep.
um, but yeah, your stance on copyright is really interesting. I've
Mm,
seen like on your own music, I mean, but like
yeah.
because I've seen other royalty-free musicians. I know you linked Josh Woodward in your site, and that's the one I knew. Because I've seen some of
Mhm.
his stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, what like made you want to like make copyright-free music?
It. I mean, it was honestly just solving a problem that existed in the world, and that it was really hard to get like music to put in things. I mean, this is before YouTube. This is before anything. I'm like, well, I mean, I do make music, and why don't I just put this stuff out there so that people can get something to use.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is it like the state of like royalty free music at the time was you would have to subscribe to like they would send you a CD every month. It cost like $150, and it'd have like really highly produced things for your 30-second ad, your 1 minute ad, and then it'd have like a longer one and a shorter one. I'm like, well, it's not actually how videos get put together though for content. Maybe that's how ads get put together, but that's not what people are doing on YouTube. So I just made the stuff to uh, be useful to people.
Honestly, that's
It seems,
really cool.
yeah, yeah, it seems pretty easy, but yeah, it's not common.
And you made a name for yourself by doing it. Was it
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
150 million streams on like one of your songs or something? It was sorry,
It's
billion. It was
entirely
it
possible.
was like
Oh yes, yeah. That's that's like TikTok numbers. I got like yeah, about 150 billion on that monkey spinning monkeys track.
on TikTok, the site where the copyright actually doesn't matter.
Well, I mean they do kind of pay people,
Yeah.
so that's nice. I guess yeah.
um. All right. So I do have a few things written down just so that I don't completely lose myself. Um.
Yeah.
Because I was reading, because like last thing I had heard about you, was it was like Kevin the Monkey NFTs or something. Uh.
Yeah.
Which
With who was that? Alistair Weber, Andrew Lloyd Webber's son, headed that one up.
mhm.
Mm.
Uh. Looking. Looking at it, I thought it was like a really cool concept of like getting stuff for the royalty-free musicians because obviously it's like a job that inherently kind of doesn't have that much money in it. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. No, it promises exactly $0, right?
um, and and I was like, I guess my question for you on that one is like, what do you think that the like decentralized nature of NFTs, like, what do you think that does uh for what Kevin the Monkey is doing?
Uh, d- right now, I don't think NFTs are very useful. The transfer fees are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They need to be like 1,000th of what they are now, or possibly less. I guess that's sort of the point of it's like, well, if it's fungible, a dollar in this bank is worth a dollar in that bank, so it doesn't take too much to transfer that. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't see it solving a huge problem right now. But hopefully it can get a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
But I don't know how. Yeah.
well, right now the big thing is like the energy costs, right?
Yeah, that's not great. um, the time and like the money, it like it. Yeah, the energy is what's costing it to, have that problem. Anyway, um, is it fixable? Do we need it? Yeah.
So
I'm not. I'm not super in, not super down.
so you're like very aware of like the problems with the like NFTs with like what they do. Um,
Yeah.
so what made you decide to want to go through with like supporting them? Uh,
With what?
with Kevin the Monkey, with like putting your name on one
Oh.
when
Oh yeah. That was um, just a really good sales job. It seemed interesting. They had good people on it. They had good marketing on it. I'm like, well, that's really the only way it's going to work. Um, and they spent a lot of money on marketing, and it returned the money that they spent on marketing. So, um,
because like with how
yeah,
much they had like attached your name to it, I had assumed
yeah.
it was more close than like just being hired on a job.
No, I didn't actually have to do anything. And I have been working with somebody else to make NFTs that are free. And man, we're having hard times. We're having
That's
hard times doing that.
that's simultaneously a really interesting concept, and like
Yeah,
one that would be fascinating, and one that kind of goes against like literally everything NFTs are right now. Because like pretty much for the majority of it, it's a
yeah,
speculative market based off of made up value, but it's
right,
based off of that value.
right. Well,
Um,
I mean, yeah, everything's a sort of a made-up thing, but yeah,
well, yeah, but that's kind of like my main criticism of NFTs is, as it stands right now with what we have with the like tokens to images, tokens to links, whatever, is that
right,
there's no inherent value within the token itself. It's kind of like playing a
right.
stock, I guess, is the best way to think about it.
Yeah, yeah. The value is in its like social importance.
Hmm.
Um, so, I mean, that's kind of, I guess, good. But as as we're living further longer and longer on this planet, everything is getting cheaper and cheaper. So like the cost of real goods is going down so
Well,
heavily now.
over time, yeah. Right now, we're actually in a bit of a cost of living crisis.
I mean, I still live better than a medieval king did,
I'll give you that
and
one.
that is, plumbing, electricity, it's great. Um, yeah, so yeah, future of NFTs. I it's got to get cheaper. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's no way it can sustain this. Um, and I know there's a lot of people that are like, like they'll take chunks out of the block and then like trade on those blocks cheaply and then just, roll it back into the main block later. It doesn't seem that anyone's, I don't know, you know more than I do.
I I wouldn't go that far, but um,
Okay.
uh, but that does kind of lead me sort of into my next question, and that is on like the concept of digital ownership.
Yeah.
Because like right now, before like NFTs, and I still think NFTs don't solve the problem, but they definitely raise a question of like
Okay.
if you want to own like a music piece, if you want to own Sneaky Snitch, that's just like
Mhm.
owning the copyright to it, right?
Yeah,
Because
there's one copyright to be had, right?
uh and what the NFT tries to solve, and I think does kind of poorly, is trying to say this is yours. It's like being able to own the Mona Lisa or whatever, which I
Right.
I have issues with that like kind of uh I have issues with that analogy, but I kind of see where it's coming from.
Right.
Uh, so what's because I obviously you have a unique perspective from like making music that is royalty free, that's like licensed under Creative Commons. What's
Hmm.
your stance on digital content ownership and like where we should go from there?
Digital content ownership. That's a tricky one. Um, ownership of information is, I mean, it's not a thing.
Yeah,
You can't, like, nobody can break into your house and steal your digital thing
well,
because
because
it's
it's
not a,
replicable.
it might be in 5 places, right? Um, so can you own that stuff? I don't know. If I'm thinking like 300 years from now, like what is that going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
Are people going to? I think by and large, there probably won't be a whole lot of copyright going on at that point.
Well, if Disney keeps going the way they are, I wouldn't be so sure about that.
That's true. Yeah, I don't see a long term plan for copyright or even patents for that matter. Um, we have it now, uh, so that's the world that I live in, and I can choose to give it away in most countries, and so I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know, man.
So then, what's your
Ah,
take? Do you have something more you want to say?
I'm just like, do you have is there a more specific question?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it seems like
Actually,
you're looking for
yeah.
something,
No.
and I'm
I
like
just wanted to get
not
your thoughts because I'm leading
understanding.
into the next bit of
Oh, okay.
so digital ownership. Like I kind of agree with you on that. It's kind of impossible. Uh,
Yeah.
so but like with our current stance of like digital ownership, current state of it, uh,
Yeah.
of it just being copyright. Um, what's your opinion on uh, copyright and transformative content and how it stands and how it's kind of being in a kind of a messy place right now? Like you
Hmm.
on a lot of fronts, especially like the big one is YouTube and copyright claims, which I know you have problems with of people claiming your music.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
so
Okay. What was the question? What are we doing?
just your take on transformative content uh right now, and this is
Transformative
again leading
content.
into another question, but
Yeah. Transformative content is transformative, and copyright does not extend to it. So Go for it. Love it. Thank you for the exemption.
But that leads into your very interesting recent blog posts, actually,
Hmm.
on transformative content and how it extends to artificial intelligence.
Okay. Yes.
Because right now the AI thing is really big for a lot of reasons. Um,
Oh yeah.
I don't think we're quite at the point where AI can steal jobs with like the same skill level as a person, obviously. Uh, but
There's quite a few that can do a lot better than people right now.
well, it
Uh,
can, but the issue with it is not consistent because it doesn't actually understand what you're saying, right? It's just kind of guessing.
mm, mm, I don't know, man.
It's kind of scary.
ChatGPT is pretty good. Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, yeah. So they suck up all sorts of information and they spit out all sorts of information. It is completely transformative. I mean, there's a thing called a transformer in there, but I mean that's technical and not it's not a legal transformer, but yeah, no, I think it should be able to suck up anything that is published. Like it wouldn't like you couldn't feed it trade secrets
yeah.
like of companies. Those things have never been published, and there's nothing about that means. But once you publish something and you have a copyright on it, that that gets put in the Library of Congress. That gets or whatever. It gets distributed. You're adding information to the world, and of course, the AIs are going to learn from that information.
Hmm.
Like, if you don't want them to know your life story, don't publish a book of your life story, um, because it will know everything that there is.
So then, like, my sort of next question to that is, how does that extend once you get into the very big issue recently of uh, stuff like what's it called? The image generation AIs. I can't remember what they're called off the
Mm-hmm.
top of my head. And you have these like smaller
Well,
artists that,
Midjourney, Dolly,
yeah,
yeah.
you have these smaller artists that don't have copyrights on their work. They're just kind of trying to publish like their art to their followers, whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really have the resources to stop the AI from like learning from their art style from doing it. Because
Yeah.
I think that that whole thing of like transformative content, even on a legal sense, I think once you get into like these smaller creators, the stuff about
Mm-hmm.
like a legal defense doesn't quite hold as much water because it kind of becomes a lot more personal.
Mm-hmm.
Something like like the Avengers films or whatever. Obviously,
Yeah.
like it has like merit as art. I'm not saying it doesn't, but with so many people in it, with the fact that it's explicitly a product for money, I think it kind of is on a
Mm-hmm.
different case as like a personal piece, as something towards uh like that whole AI sense of transformative content, and it's like it's a lot more impersonal, right? And so if an AI takes that, I think that's like a lot different socially than an AI scraping data from like DeviantArt or something.
Yeah. So, oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble for these ones. A
I
lot of
I'm
a
asking
lot
for
of
the tricky
people,
questions.
a lot of people think that they're more unique than they are. A lot of people say it's like, oh, this did a thing and it kind of looks like mine. It's like, yeah, well, it may never have actually seen your stuff. You just look like a lot of other people. There's only so many ways to draw a hand. It's a lot. It's a lot of ways, but there's, you know, um, and Yeah, I guess if you don't want to impact the world, don't make art. You know, if you don't want the people to look at it and learn from it, don't make it. Stop it. Why are you making art if you don't want things to learn from it or, view it or feel things about it?
So then, I think the biggest issue isn't necessarily like the traditional content, uh, but the fact that you have like these sites like Dolly and Midjourney making a profit using the training data of these artists to the point where like with a lot of them you can say in the style of XYZ, and for some of them like obviously it doesn't, they're like small artists, but like for some of the like
Right.
mid-size artists like there's enough of a
Yeah.
portfolio to say in the style of XYZ and get
Right.
something in their style that like will have flaws because AI is not perfect, but
Yeah.
could reasonably be passed off as like one of their pieces. And
Sure.
you have Dolly and Midjourney with like the monetized models profiting off of
Hmm.
something that feels a lot closer to plagiarism than their other stuff, right?
Hmm. So, like, if the good music AIs are coming. So if somebody types in, I want a happy tune in the style of Kevin MacLeod, am I going to be upset about that at all? That seems like I won. Um, that you want more things, like there's only so much stuff I can make, but with these AIs, they'll be able to make damn near infinite numbers of things,
Hmm.
which I think is great.
Yeah, I did see you like putting all your stuff like as training data as like
Yep.
for AIs,
Yep.
which
I,
is really
I got
cool.
into to most of the big ones already. So
Well,
everyone but Facebook. Yeah.
I mean, you probably would have been even if you didn't say anything else.
Yeah.
But so then, what about like those artists that don't have the same perspective?
Yeah. Well, they're going to have a hard time with the world, I think, because how do you stop this? You can stop it legislatively, like in
Yeah.
one country. Yeah, and then somebody in Sweden's like, okay, I'm open for business. These a lot of these models are open source. You can just go get them. Um, so yeah, I think the reality is it's like if you don't want your stuff seen, don't publish your stuff.
Hmm.
It's gonna be seen, and people are gonna learn from it, and computers are gonna learn from it.
Right.
That that's like that sounds like the ultimate thing that you should want. It's like get me in all
Yeah.
of the
No, I
AIs.
honestly like I agree with you to some extent. I think that
Yeah.
overall, like, I want less, copyrighted stuff, like less, um, less of more free information, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's an AI is like really hard to regulate. It is very hard to
Yeah.
prove that it's trained on XYZ data, and moreover,
Yep.
it's kind of impossible to untrain an AI. So
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how much legislature you like input. These companies are going to keep
Mhm.
doing it. They're going to get away with it. There's nothing you can really do about that. Even if like
Yeah.
everyone in the world agrees that like, hey, this is bad, you're not going
Yeah.
to get anywhere with it because what are you going to do? Uh,
Yeah. There's not much.
um, which I don't know. To me, that kind of sucks because like I write, right. I don't write a ton, but I write, and like the last thing I want is to help like $1 million company profit. Like, I don't mind my stuff being used as AI. Like, I know it's not being used for AI,
Yeah.
but I don't want my like creative artistic efforts to be turned into profit and numbers for $1 million corporation, right?
Yeah. So, well, like, it's you and 10,000 other people who write things in the same genre, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That all gets sort of put together. And right now, the pudding that comes out the other end is not that inspired, at least that's so
It
far as
isn't.
I've seen in the writing.
It isn't.
Um, but maybe you'll get good ideas and be able to execute them on that in the coming weeks and months. But yeah, you're like once you get put into there, you are part of the voice of the generation that went into that
Mm-hmm.
that AI brain, you know. Um, you don't get a sale from that though, do you?
I mean, I've made like a grand total of
um,
like $40 from commissions total. From one
yeah,
commission I've
yeah,
gotten, so I'm not really getting a sale from anything, but I do see your point.
yeah.
Where like the stuff I've written is being used to, even in a small part, to make profit, and I don't really get anything.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, it'd be maybe they should give you a free GPT account so that you can write more effectively
uh,
in your own style.
I, that would feel like a slap in the face. I won't lie. uh,
It's the best I can do because you either are forgotten or not.
yeah,
That's your choice.
yeah.
Um,
Like I know that there's not
and
really any stopping it outside of lighting fire to
yeah,
the
not
headquarters or whatever.
publishing. Right,
Uh,
right.
so and uh, and your stance on the stuff generated from AI was that it should be like uncopyrightable, right?
Absolutely uncopyrightable. Yep.
Uh, so I agree with you. Uh, what does that mean
Yep.
for like all of these like studios that are going to start to and I hate that I have to say this, use it to replace
Mm.
writers, and
Hmm.
all that. Like,
Yeah.
what
Well,
is that?
that script is not going to be copyrightable. So if somebody else wants to shoot that episode of, I don't know, what, 30 Rock? No, that's an old one. Uh, the script is uncopyrightable.
AI bringing back the reboot
But,
of 30 Rock.
so if you want to, yes, if you want to own 30 Rock 2, you can't you have to have people write it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have the AI write it, you no longer own it. So, I mean, I think it's an interesting choice. It's like, do you want these really good scripts made really cheaply, but you don't own them?
Mm-hmm.
Because you and me are going to be able to make new episodes of The Simpsons. There we go, Simpsons. That one's still going on.
I
Whew.
don't think it'll stop. Uh,
Say again?
yeah, I said I don't think they'll stop.
No, no. And thanks to the AI, we will be able to have new episodes literally forever.
That's
You know,
dystopian.
that is, I think we're going to get bored. I think we're going to get bored with a lot of this
Well,
static media.
well, because I think with like The Simpsons, right? Even though it's like still
Mm,
made for profit, there are still like
yeah,
writers and ideas being put in that are made with love by humans, and I think you kind of
absolutely.
lose that personal aspect with AI, and I think that's kind of what even Disney's realizing with the stuff they write with people. With like the new Marvel movies, they're not really taking risks like artistically, and people are
No,
starting to realize, and you're getting like these box office bombs from this $1 billion. dollar 1 billion-dollar corporation. 1 billion-dollar corporation.
right.
Um,
1
so, 1 billion-dollar corporation. 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 1 billion- So obviously, like, AI is hard to legislate, like, but the
Yeah.
companies. Uh, do you think that there should be any legislation for the commercial use of AI outside of like being uncopyrightable?
Um, I don't know what other issues could be coming up there.
Um,
Um, they're using it in medicine, and it's fine. They're using it in law, and it's fine. They're using it. It's already in a lot of places.
mm-hmm. Uh, the sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Um, sorry, I heard using it in medicine. My brain like just hooked onto this one
Yeah,
anecdote, and like I just can't get off of it. Uh,
yeah. It does a really good job of like reading radiology and suggesting what might be wrong based on blood samples and stuff.
I
It's
I re-
it's quite good.
that's like the anecdote of like radiology. It was like trying to get like pneumonia or fibrosis, something like that. Um, and because they were getting all this training data, and it found out like with an astonishing high success rate, because it just looked at the age of the machine that took the picture,
Okay.
which had a pretty high correlation, because hospitals' older
Mm,
machines are more likely to get like these sick patients. Uh,
got it.
which was uh, it took them a bit to turn that out, from what I'm aware, but
Uh,
I think the
yeah, no, you just have to burn that one and start over.
I think the big thing with these AI is like is these corporations, like you have the writer strike going on, the actor strike going on, and
Yep.
one of their big asks is wanting these companies to stop using AI without consent to replicate uh,
Yeah.
uh, voices and the
People and
likenesses,
yeah.
and to not like replace writers with AI.
Hmm.
Um, and is that something that like you think, especially with like voice, uh,
Yeah.
do you think that should be like legislated at all?
Hollywood is a weird kind of bank to me. Um, like they have their own rules, and it's really kind of outside the uh, sort of things that I watch. Uh, you know, um, God, I'm not sure if I care, but let me think. Like, is there?
Well, I don't really care about
I think it's weird. I
Hollywood's.
I think this. Yeah, I think we're gonna have amazing storytelling, visual storytelling, with amazing stories, and very soon. Like by ooh, by December of next year. Good lord, the number of like full feature length, films with ridiculous effects and stuff is going to be huge.
Hmm.
Um, we're already getting like the Gen 2 and Pico Labs, like the software is getting there. So where will that leave people that can only make, one film every 6 months? How long does it
Yeah.
take to make a film?
Well, it depends on the role, because like some
Yeah,
roles are gonna have like longer time to do stuff than others, and it kind of depends. But yeah,
right.
people
Yeah, there's
cannot
people
do as
that
much as
people start at
AI.
the beginning. There's people at the right. It's just gonna get fast.
Hmm.
You think there's a lot of Marvel movies now. Like once Disney takes a hold of this AI, there's gonna be like 3 a day. Watch whatever one you want, and
That's
then eventually people are gonna be able to have it write their own.
horrifying.
And well,
I can only take so much, like
instant
Chris Ellsworth.
movie. Yeah, I mean, instant movie is gonna be possible. Oh, you can say, oh, okay, but I want, Benedict Cumberbatch instead of Chris Ellsworth. Just, swap that guy in. Or better yet, my uncle Joey, he'd make a real good one there. And yeah, generate the images, music, script, everything. There's no reason that can't happen, and it's going to.
So then, that like the big thing then is like that whole thing of like, especially like my Uncle Joey, of the likeness of
Mm.
someone and in AI.
Hmm.
That is
Yeah.
that is like a terrifying thing. Uh,
It's just,
like,
yeah.
cause like it started. It starts with like these like the big one like a few months ago was like the memes with the presidential deep fakes. You
Okay.
you got these like you can't really call them impersonations because they are just the voices, the trained data of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and
Oh yeah, Biden versus Trump, the continuous debate over on, was it Twitch? You watch that?
I didn't I didn't watch it, but I know of it. Like I know of like the different memes based off of it,
Oh
and the
yeah,
big one.
it's hilarious.
But the big one is I saw a few people like posting stuff trying to like uh like trying to like misinform people, and like one
Hmm.
that blew up a while ago was Mr. Beast. It was a Mr. Beast giveaway. They AI cloned his voice to scam people out of their
Hmm.
money.
Oh, fun.
Uh so that I think is the one case of like AI use that I think we would legislate if any of them are.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah. I mean, that's just straight fraud. It's not like we don't have laws against that.
yeah,
Um,
but
we
uh
do.
it's just like whether that sort of thing should be as accessible as like the rest of AI, as all of
Yeah.
that. Like, because it's one
Yeah,
thing.
used to be 20 years ago, you'd have to find somebody who kind of sounds like it, and they would have to work on their vocal impression for a little bit. You could do it.
Yeah,
It just took more effort. Right.
and like,
Now,
yeah, because there's a thing of like, obviously anyone can grab all of like Joe Biden's clips, train a data on their own machine. Um,
yep,
like you can't stop people from doing that. But
right.
does like OpenAI or whatever, or I don't think OpenAI actually is voice clones, but like, do these
11
AI,
Labs does a good one.
yeah, do they have like a moral responsibility to not give that easy access?
Uh, ooh. I mean, you do have to check a box saying that you own all the rights to the recording and that you can do that.
Oh,
So
no. I don't
I
mean,
think they are.
I don't quite mean like the tick in a box, because obviously like you giving them a voice is different. More so like the
Mhm.
sites where they have these pre-recorded these pre-trained models.
Ah, I have seen that. Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I don't know. It's not hard. Like you said, you can go and go to GitHub and pick up your thing and train train on your local computer very easily.
Yeah, but that is like a few hours of effort
Um,
as opposed to me going on to
it
Joe
is.
Biden
Yeah.
deepfake.com, getting this 10-second clip of him saying that you should give him your social security number and like
Yeah.
scamming some people out of their money. Like I could do that, probably set up a scheme in like a couple minutes, right?
Yeah. So like ease of use is really what we're talking about with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's it's frighteningly easy to do things now. It's like, can you imagine like how easy it is to make like a coloring book page with Midjourney now? All the coloring book page artists are going to go out of business, or maybe they won't. Maybe the world doesn't need 300,000 different coloring books. Maybe it does. If it does, we're going to figure that we'll figure that out. Does the world need 7,000 young adult paranormal romance books? I would argue yes, probably more. But there are some like you never know. So yeah, everything's just getting easier and easier, and like I think we're gonna have to assume at some point everything is gonna be basically like Genie Wish away. You want to listen to some island music? Bam, not a problem. You want, geez, I mean, the mind boggles at like everything that you can get. Like entertainment done. You know, you can have do anything, clean up your computer, fix your mortgage payments. I don't know.
uh, to me, like, and this is slightly off of like the train of AI, but kind of, it's related.
Hmm.
Like to
Hmm.
me, that's scary because like, if I want to listen to like, I don't know, if I want to listen to some Taylor Swift, right? I go on to
Sure.
Spotify, I play some Taylor Swift. She's getting like money off that. Whereas if
Yep.
I go on to like a music AI thing in like 20, 30 years, I pay
Right.
my $10, $20 month subscription to use like all their services. Um,
Yep.
I say, hey, I want a Taylor Swift song. Give me a new one. They give it to me,
Yeah.
and I'm listening to Taylor Swift, but it's
Hmm.
the AI company that gets that money, not Taylor Swift, right? You have these artists that aren't getting this money, and it's kind of all consolidating to these like one or two companies, and the only people that are going to get money trickling like down from the payments and all that is like the programmers, the UI developers, the marketing stuff like that.
Mm.
You're not going to get
Hmm.
the actual artists and creators, and it's gonna. I'm scared it's gonna get to the point where it's like creativity and art as a job is going to be less and less valuable because obviously, like,
Oh boy. It is. It is worse than that. It is absolutely worse than that. Um, you know, the number of people who are going to lose their jobs over this is enormous. You know, truck drivers, sure, we've got the full self-driving cars. They're going down. Which is fine because we don't have enough truck drivers. We need more truck
yeah,
drivers. Uh, who else? Like, anyone who works in an information only world, they're just not going to have a job. Like, if you work for an insurance company and you don't like actually fix cars or something, your job is gone. You work for a medical software thing and you develop, your job is gone. Like, they're all going away. So what happens when there's nobody to pay the artists? Like, now what do we do? Where does the, like, there are fundamental problems of where is the money going to come from? And the artists were just one of them. This is
hmm
one of the things on that's a problem.
yeah. The reason I kind of bring up art instead of like stuff like medical field is like even with the
Hmm.
medical field, they will have to keep some people on staff because you do not
Hmm.
want to trust a fundamentally like flawed AI, like flawed in the sense that it's not human, with these medical decisions. You don't want to trust this AI to do insurance investigation because like obviously AI has its biases. You're gonna need a few, AIs or whatever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to artistic fields, um, like artistic intent doesn't matter that much in the eyes of corporations, and that's the one thing that the human has like over the AI. If I want to get a job writing for like Disney or whatever, if like that's what I want to decide what I want to do with my life, then you know that's not going to be feasible because the
No.
artistic intent doesn't
No.
matter to Disney.
I don't know. It only matters if it makes it through to the audience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
So, and especially for like what you've done is like you've decided to like put your life in like royalty free music.
Yeah.
Um, in like a post AI world, like where you can generate all this music on demand, would you have done
Yeah.
that? Right? Would you have made your career, your
No.
living
I
off
would.
of music?
I wouldn't have had to do that. So obviously not. Yeah.
And like from what I can tell, you enjoy what you do. You enjoy like the music you create, um,
Yeah.
and being able to
Yeah.
to help the world, right? Even in its own like little
Right.
way. Uh,
Yes.
and it's kind of like AI would have like taken that away from you, and that just kind of sucks, right?
Oh, yeah, but I'd live in a world that has everything and more.
Yeah.
Oh, do I lose purpose because like my skills are no longer useful? Um, yeah.
The purpose and like a stable income.
Yeah, yeah, income, sure. I mean, there's going to be a few things that I think survive. You know, people are going to want to party with other people. So we're still going to have, you know, restaurants and clubs and that.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, pretty much everything is going to get upended and pretty fast.
And
So,
uh, I I feel like with like the unregulation kind of vibe we have going with AI right now, um,
yeah.
there is more than likely going to have to be a slight overhaul of our economic system.
Slight. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What? Yeah, slight.
Slight complete
Oh,
overhaul.
no, my friend. It's going to be pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Uh,
Um, yeah. Well, on the plus side, I mean, the cost of goods and services is going to plummet. You know, once you can get, you know, a factory up and running and it's just filled with robots, you just, you know, dump the raw materials in one side and, you know, what, you know, like labor is like at least a third the cost of manufacturing, depends on what you're manufacturing.
mhm.
So like you'll save that immediately. Um, it's going to be cheaper to get raw materials. It's going to be cheaper. Like the cost of everything is just going to be driven down over the next, 6 to 20 years.
Mhm.
So that's good. You know, maybe you won't, maybe not a lot of opportunities for jobs, but a new refrigerator is only going to cost you $10.
A new
Um,
refrigerator is going to cost the company $10.
the new refrigerator, yeah, whatever,
Well,
whatever
it
company.
well that's what I'm saying is like because
Mm.
historically companies are not going to reduce the cost of their goods just because they cost less to obtain if they can get away with
Mm-hmm.
selling it for the same amount. And that's kind of the scary thing is like how much
Yeah,
are these companies going to try and get away with? And
I think they're going to try to get away with a lot, but there's enough people out there like Bezos who are like trying to undercut,
mhm.
um, you know, especially in the pharmaceuticals. He's like, yeah, no, we'll make this and we'll make it cheaper, and we'll just kill people on them. Like, you do need to have spiteful people who want to take profits away. Preferably very rich, spiteful people who want to take profits away from other rich people.
uh so it's just going to kind of become like a pissing contest between
Yeah.
billionaires and eventually like it's just going to settle itself out is your take on it?
How? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, how cheap are things gonna get? You know, it really takes like just one company to come in and go. It's like, oh, yeah, well, we're gonna deliver packages for 1/5 the price of everybody else. You can still go with those guys if you want, or you can come over to this one. Like, there's gonna be opportunities like that, and probably those companies are gonna get bought up by the bigger companies early on, and the bigger companies are going to try to delay it like they always have. But if they can't stand forever, you know.
It's just we're going to have like a
It,
20-30 year period of uh not the greatest time if like that's going to be sort of how it goes.
I think it's just going to get better and better and better and better.
I think it's going to get better. I think we're going to have a rough transition period.
I think, yeah, there's going to be like a mental societal shift where like, you know, things it's like, oh, maybe it's not such a good idea to, you know, spend $80,000 on a education these days. Um, hopefully we'll have other experiences that people can go and do, and they're going to be a lot cheaper than that.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of the college, I think people should go to college, but I don't think they should pay for college. You should just go away and like live somewhere else.
You know what? I'm with you. I think the education system. That's its whole other thing. I can talk for hours about that. But
Mm.
the education system is a bit flawed.
Mm. Yeah, a
Uh,
little bit, a little bit.
uh, yeah. So that's like every question I had, and then like a few thousand more. Um,
Okay.
uh, I can't think of anything more to say. If there's anything else you wanted to say, ask. You know.
No, I think I'm good. I mean, I love thinking about this, and you gave me questions that I really haven't thought about. So
I'm glad to do that, and it was like an
absolutely.
honor to like be able to speak with you because again, like I grew up on your stuff, so it's like really cool to just be able to talk to you and ask these questions.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I asked hard ones.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that I'm coming down on the side of, yeah, give everything away for free.
Oh,
It'll work
it's
out.
not much of a surprise. It's just kind of, it's just kind of interesting to like talk to you about it, like because you're on the
Yeah,
stance of that very unique perspective.
yeah,
I don't quite share your,
cool, cool.
utopian worldview to the same extent, but I'm here for it.
Well, honestly, I don't share it either, but I have I have to keep looking at it. I have to keep living for it because we need to know how to get there. And if nobody's thinking about it in a utopian way, all the solutions are just going to not get us where we want to be.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do some work on my brain to try to keep it thinking in the positive realm, because there is a positive way through this.
Absolutely.
It is not inevitable that horrifying things will happen. But yeah, we gotta be ready for the things that are coming. everybody, everybody, get ready because housing is gonna be I don't even know.
uh,
Every time I work on housing, it's like, well, either it's gonna get super cheap or super expensive,
well,
but it's not gonna stay where it is.
uh, well,
So
I'm looking forward to seeing you being proved right on the world becoming utopia. You know what? I'm rooting for it. I want it to happen just as bad as you do.
yeah, yeah, we gotta find ways to make it happen. Maybe watch a lot of Star Trek, figure it out.
Okay, well, didn't Star Trek isn't like the big plot that there was kind of a few hundred years of like hell on Earth until they figured it out?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. The '90s weren't good. The '90s were not good. 1990s. What is it? The eugenics wars, and yeah. No, there was problems, but at least they got the economy figured out, and they make starships now. So
All it takes is a few wars of like eugenics for us to figure out that
sure.
maybe capitalism is flawed.
Well, yeah. I mean, what did you want it to do? Capitalism's going to capitalize. So.
uh, all right. Thank you so much for your time. I don't want to like hold you too long.
Absolutely.
Uh, it was wonderful talking to you, and I wish you good luck on your royalty-free ventures.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
All right, have a good night.
Cheers.